suddenly woke up with Aspen sitting next to me. I had noticed that she was crying. What's wrong? I asked. I didn't want you to die. I may have hated you, but why? Also, your hair's short now, and also I found your ponytail as well, she said, giving it to me. Well, I then asked her, how am I still alive though? Well, I done CPR on you, and then called an ambulance to come. I'm sorry for what I did to you. I guess I didn't know how much you loved my brother Jackson. It's okay, Aspen. We ended up talking for hours before I fell asleep again. Aspen seemed like a really nice person, but I knew her true side. However, at the same time, I've never seen her cry before. Once I was out of the hospital, I kept seeing Jackson and Echo being together all the time. It hurt so much that I would cry even harder every night. It made me so depressed to the point where I wanted to end my life, but better this time. I was gonna jump off a building, the same one that I did before. I then stabbed myself with a pocket knife that I carried. Hopefully, I'll be free once again. So later that day, I went up to the top of the building and jumped off. Once I'd hit the bottom, I felt my body slowly dying, so I got out my pocket knife and stabbed myself with it. This was the day I died, or at least I thought I did. I was in my room chilling when all of a sudden, Aspen barges into my room and says something I never thought I'd hear. Frankie died. She then burst into tears. I cried my eyes out as I hugged her tight. I was honestly completely devastated that I became extremely depressed. I also started finding a lot of my girlfriend Echo ever since I found out Frankie's suicide was because of me. I felt so awful for a month that I went to therapy about it, but slowly but surely, as time went on, I slowly started to get better. Once a month had passed, Aspen had told me something that I never thought I'd hear in my life. Frankie isn't dead. She's alive! I cried from joy and just said, I have to go and see her now. Okay, Aspen said as we drove off to the hospital. However, when we got there, it turns out she wasn't even there. We kept asking around what the hell Frankie was, if anyone actually knew, but it was no luck. As we went around looking for Frankie, finally found out she was at our house, which was a big relief on our part, because we knew she was safe the whole time, so we decided to go there. As soon as we arrived, we immediately knocked on the door. I cried from happiness. Frankie, your hair, your scar is back, I said, tearing up. Yeah, so are my powers. It's what brought me back to life in the first place, she said. I broke up with Echo and I was wondering if you wanted to be my girlfriend again, I said, being slightly nervous. Yeah, I will. We then kissed and hugged each other tight. 5 years later, me and Jackson have been together for 5 years now. And at first it was all great and all, but ever since my suicide attempt, Jackson hasn't been the same person ever since. He's become super controlling. He has to be with me for 24/7 and wouldn't let me go anywhere, even if I was going out with friends that day. He would always have to be there with me. So one day, I decided I couldn't take it anymore, so I broke up with him. I told him I'd always love him, but only as a friend. Begged me not to break up with him, but I refused and ended up telling him that he was way too controlling. And with that, I walked out the house in tears. It was extremely hard at first, but I knew in my gut that I did the right thing. In the end. As the months passed on, I ended up meeting my amazing boyfriend Deuce. Although he doesn't know about my powers just yet, the reason for that is I decided I wanted him to find out naturally. I was so happy to find someone who wasn't controlling, didn't know anything about my past, especially my suicide attempt, or anything about me. It was like the fresh start I so desperately needed. Anyway, I told Deuce the scar on my face was a face tattoo, and surprisingly he actually believed me, which was a big relief on my part, since I was so scared of him finding out about my powers. He'll end up leaving me, so I kept it a secret for now. One day I was chilling with Deuce when all of a sudden Aspen had texted me asking if me and Deuce wanted to come over, so we decided to accept. Once we both got to Aspen and Jackson's house, Aspen asked Deuce what he thought about my scar, and he replied of, yeah, it's a cool face tattoo. Deuce, Frankie's scar isn't a face tattoo. He then laughed as it was some sort of joke, but when he realized Aspen was being serious, he still didn't believe her at all. This is when I decided to go to the shops to get some snacks and away from all the awkwardness between the both. I couldn't believe that Frankie hadn't told Deuce about her powers yet. I mean, it's almost like she's hiding her true self. Meanwhile, me and Deuce talked for a bit. He seemed like a really nice guy and we got along really well, which was awesome, but also kind of unexpected as well. So do you want a drink or something? Yeah, I'll have some water, should be fine, if that's okay? Yeah, that's fine, I said as I got up and grabbed his water. Frankie then came back with the snacks, and we ended up having an amazing time. That was until Jackson came home, just when Frankie and Deuce were about to leave. Frankie?